It started with an envelope, plain, unmarked, and left on the marble counter of Leonardo DiCaprio's Beverly Hills estate. At first, he thought it was just another script, perhaps another desperate indie filmmaker hoping to snag the A-lister's attention. But Leo's assistant, Gabby, swore she hadn't let anyone through the gate that morning. No deliveries. No FedEx. No Postmates, she said, chewing on the end of a vegan muffin. Inside the envelope, there was no script. No name. Just a flash drive. And a note. You owe us. Your life is not what it seems. Plug it in. DiCaprio hesitated. He had received strange fan mail before. Obsessed fans, climate change conspiracy nuts, even people claiming to be time travelers begging him to stop the ice caps from melting. But something about this was different. His instincts, honed over decades in the unpredictable jungle of fame, screamed at him. This is no joke. He slipped the drive into the back of his laptop. A single file appeared, ominously titled 1998_recovery.mov. He clicked it. What followed chilled him. It was grainy surveillance footage. An underground facility. A younger version of himself, Leonardo, circa Titanic, surrounded by masked figures. He was strapped to a chair, thrashing. Someone injected him with something. The video glitched. When it returned, Leo was calm, silent. His eyes vacant. He slammed the laptop shut, his breath shallow. Gabby, he shouted. She appeared instantly. What is it? Get Marty on the phone. Now. Martin Scorsese. The only man in Hollywood DiCaprio truly trusted. An hour later, DiCaprio's house was in full lockdown mode. Scorsese was on his way. Gabby was calling in his longtime security chief from the Body of Lies days. And Leo was pacing the floor, glass of whiskey in hand. The file had shaken him, not because it showed something impossible, but because it showed something familiar. He remembered the year. 1998, the dizzying success of Titanic. The parties, the media frenzy, the drugs, and the missing time. A week, maybe more, vanished from memory. He had chalked it up to exhaustion. But now, he wasn't so sure. His phone buzzed. Unknown number, that was just the beginning. We want $1 billion. Or we show the world who you really are. Leo stared at the message, heart pounding. This was no fan. This was organized. Coordinated. And they were watching. That night, Scorsese arrived in person. He had aged, but his eyes were as sharp as ever. Jesus, Leo. This better not be another one of your crypto-environmentalist emergencies. Leo didn't smile. He showed him the video. The message. Scorsese was silent for a long time. I warned you back then, he finally said. You don't remember, do you? Leo blinked. Warn me? About what? Marty looked at him, regret in his expression. About them. The people behind the foundation. Leo's blood ran cold. The Greenlight Foundation? The environmental group? Scorsese nodded slowly. They were never about the environment, Leo. They were about control. And in 1998, they chose you. Scorsese poured himself a drink. Something rare. Something strong. Leo stood frozen in the doorway of his home office, staring at the old director like he was seeing him for the first time. You're telling me the Greenlight Foundation, my own foundation, is blackmailing me? Scorsese shook his head. Not exactly. The foundation you know is just the public face. A front. A shield. Behind it is something older, something bigger. I don't know what they call themselves now, but when I first heard about them back in the 70s, they went by the Lumen Circle. Leo blinked. Lumen Circle? Sounds like a cult. It is, Marty said. But smarter. Richer. Their goal isn't to worship something. It's to control everything. Media, politics, the environment, and most of all, narratives. They build icons. And they own them. Leo sat down. And you're saying, they built me? Scorsese nodded. When you started to burn out after Titanic, they saw an opportunity. The public was obsessed. But you were unstable. Partying too hard. Almost walked away from acting. You were becoming a liability. So they stepped in. Leo looked sick. And did what? I don't know everything, Marty said. But I do know this. They gave you a choice. Or maybe they didn't. All I remember is waking up in a New York hotel suite in '98, with a contract I never signed and a call from someone telling me not to ask questions about Leo for a while. Leo was pale now. But my memories. Manufactured. Or altered, Marty said. You ever wonder why you suddenly got serious? Why you stopped partying, started doing real movies? Someone rewired you. Maybe chemically. Maybe something deeper. Leo leaned forward. You're saying I've been brainwashed? Or replaced, Scorsese muttered. That word hit Leo like a slap. The next morning, Leo met privately with his personal cybersecurity expert, Jason Pollard, a former NSA codebreaker with a quiet reputation in the Valley. Leo gave him the flash drive. Within hours, Pollard decrypted a hidden folder containing thousands of documents, video fragments, and internal memos from something called Project Avalon. One video stood out. It was timestamped March 1998 from a hidden lab in the Nevada desert. Leo, again, the young Leo was shown side by side with a second figure. Identical. Same face. Same voice. But different posture. More composed. Calculated. It wasn't just a clone. It was a programmed double. Leo slammed the laptop shut. That's not me. Pollard looked up. Then who's been living your life? Later that day, a black SUV appeared outside Leo's home. A man in a beige suit stepped out and handed Gabby a second envelope. No words. No expression. Inside was a small card. The $1 billion is not the point. The question is, are you still the original? Leo felt the room tilt. He opened his safe and pulled out an old photo, a Polaroid taken during the Cannes Film Festival in '97. He looked vibrant, free, unfiltered. He compared it to his most recent press photo from just last month. Same eyes. But something was off. Even he could see it. He reached for his phone and dialed the one number he hadn't called in 15 years. It rang once. Twice. Then, Leo. The voice was raspy. Familiar. It was Giselle Harper, his ex-girlfriend from the pre-Titanic days. The only person who knew what had happened during the lost week. And she was crying. They found me, she whispered. And they know I told you. Giselle Harper was hiding in a trailer park outside Barstow, California, under the name Renee L. Her voice shook over the line. I haven't spoken your name in over a decade, Leo. I was warned. I was watched. I moved 27 times. Why now? Leo asked. Why come forward after all this time? Because they don't care anymore, she said. They're done with the illusion. And they want you to pay, literally and publicly. DiCaprio boarded a private jet within the hour, flying under an alias. He brought no entourage, no bodyguards, only Jason Pollard and a growing knot of fear in his stomach. They found Giselle in a dusty airstream, her hair now streaked gray, eyes haunted. She greeted Leo like a ghost seeing another ghost. You don't remember the week, she said without preamble, lighting a cigarette. But I do. I was with you. The real you. She handed him a tattered composition notebook, filled with erratic handwriting and strange diagrams. You wrote this when we went off the grid. You were paranoid. You said they were going to overwrite you. Leo scanned the pages. Scribbles about light therapy, sonic chambers, psychological extraction. Then one phrase, repeated over and over. If I forget, I'm not me. What happened to me, Giselle? He asked. She looked him dead in the eye. They tried to install a behavioral template. Not a clone. A layer. A kind of mental operating system. But something went wrong. You fought back. You ran. They had hidden out in a small house on Mount Shasta, according to Giselle. Leo barely slept. He ranted about hearing code in the wind. At one point, he tried to dig a chip out of his own neck. Then, just as suddenly, he was calm. One morning, you woke up and said you were going back, Giselle said. You said you had to finish the deal. Leo stared. What deal? She shook her head. You never told me. But after that, you changed. Completely. Your voice. Your mannerisms. You didn't even remember my name. Leo sat back, reeling. What you are now, she said quietly, might not be entirely you. That night, back in L.A., Jason Pollard dug deeper into Project Avalon. One folder was titled Neuravis. It contained 3D brain scans labeled LDC-1 and LDC-2. The scans were nearly identical, but not quite. Different neural patterns. Different emotional response zones. Jason turned to Leo. They didn't clone you. They split you. Two personas. One went into hiding. The other kept acting. Leo felt like the air had been sucked from the room. Which one am I? Pollard didn't answer. The next morning, Leo's legal team was ambushed by a sudden lawsuit from an anonymous offshore trust claiming ownership of his intellectual identity, likeness, name, voice, and biometric signature. The demand? Immediate transfer of assets totaling $1 billion, or public release of irreparable legacy material. Who the hell owns someone's identity? One of the lawyers asked. But Leo already knew the answer, the lumen circle. It wasn't about money. It was about erasure. And they were erasing him, one version at a time. That night, Leo received a final message on his secure line. Come to the Chateau Marmont. Penthouse 7. Midnight. Bring no one. Or we go public. He went. The elevator creaked to the top floor. He knocked once. The door opened. And there, sitting in the corner of the suite with a glass of whiskey in his hand, was himself. Not a clone. Not a twin. Another Leo. They stared at each other. Two Leonardo DiCaprios. Same face. Same tired green eyes. One wore a charcoal suit like he'd just stepped off a red carpet. The other, our Leo, stood in jeans, eyes sunken, jaw clenched. The suited Leo smiled. So, we finally meet. Leo didn't speak. Relax, the other said, rising from the velvet chair. You're not crazy. You're just late to the truth. Leo's fists clenched. Who are you? I'm you, the other replied calmly. The version they kept. The one who agreed. Leo's blood went cold. They split us, the Mirror Man continued. In that Nevada facility, one of us fought it. The other saw opportunity. Fame. Control. Influence. You went off the grid. I went to Cannes. You hid in the mountains with Giselle. I flew to Tokyo and signed with Armani. You're a puppet, Leo snapped. You're the one they programmed. And you're the one they're trying to delete, the Mirror Man said, stepping closer. They let you surface to test me. To test us. But now you're a liability. You're unstable. Nostalgic. You think identity is some spiritual constant. It's not. It's a product, Leo. And I've been the product for over 2 decades. Leo could barely breathe. You're not real. Then neither are you. The Mirror Man poured them each a drink. You want the truth? He asked. Fine. Here it is. The Lumen Circle has built synthetic personalities for over 40 years. Politicians, CEOs, actors. You were the prototype. Project Avalon's crown jewel. Leo stared at his double. Why me? Because you were perfect. Pretty enough to idolize, mysterious enough to mythologize, and unstable enough to replace. And the best part, the Mirror Man leaned in. No one ever asked where you went. Not the tabloids. Not your friends. Not even Scorsese. Because I kept performing. I kept smiling. I was the better version. Leo stood. I'm not paying them a cent, he said. The Mirror Man nodded. I didn't think you would. That's why they sent me. The next moment was chaos. A crack of glass. A dart in Leo's neck. Blackness. He awoke in a sterile white room. Straps on his wrists. Monitors beeping. A female voice echoing through an overhead speaker. Subject LDC, 1 reacquired. Memory stabilization commencing. He thrashed. No windows. No door. Only a wall of screens. One came to life. Giselle. Bound. Gagged. Crying. The voice again. Cooperation will ensure her release. Resistance will result in neurological deconstruction. Then another screen flickered on his own face. But calm. Controlled. The Mirror Man. It didn't have to be like this. But you chose memory. Nostalgia. Conscience. That's obsolete now. Leo screamed. The room responded by injecting something cold into his bloodstream. He began to fade. In another part of Los Angeles, Jason Pollard sat at his terminal, watching the live feed from a pirated surveillance drone. He had tracked Leo to a private biotech facility buried beneath a studio lot in Burbank. Pollard was ready. He picked up his phone. It's time, he said. Tell Scorsese we go public. Tonight. The broadcast began at 9:37 p.m. Pacific Time. It was subtle, almost unnoticeable, just a single file quietly uploaded to a dozen decentralized networks. Then another, to an encrypted leak site based in Iceland. Then, a push notification from an anonymous social media account with over 18 million dormant followers. Leonardo DiCaprio is not who you think he is. Watch this before it's taken down. Within minutes, the world was watching. Footage from Project Avalon servers. Neuromapping labs. Side-by-side comparisons of Leo, real Leo, versus his Mirror Man medical scans, video logs, intercepted memos signed by Lumen Circle operatives. Dozens of A-list celebrities mentioned in redacted files, hinting at other synthetic identities and altered personas. The internet exploded. Hashtags like hashtag clone Kaprio and hashtag the real Leo trended worldwide. News anchors stumbled over the words neurosynthetic identity programs. Conspiracy forums melted into mainstream media. The question stopped being if it was real. It became, how long have they been doing this? Meanwhile, inside the biotech facility, alarms were blaring. Jason Pollard was already inside, using an old Lumen clearance badge from a compromised contractor. He moved like a ghost through white corridors, guided by the stolen map Leo had sketched from memory years ago. He found the control chamber, just as Leo was about to be wiped. The Mirror Man stood inside the glass booth, calmly watching the sedated original on the gurney. Pollard burst in, overriding the lockdown. The Mirror Man turned. "Too late," he said. His mind's already slipping. "Maybe," Pollard replied, raising a small device, "but yours is connected." He pressed a button. A blinding feedback pulse echoed through the room. The Mirror Man staggered, eyes wide, mouth twitching. The neurological loop controlling his synthetic self collapsed. He gasped, then dropped. Leo stirred. "Gabby," he mumbled. "Scorsese." Pollard rushed to the gurney, injecting a stabilizer. "Stay with me, Leo. You've got a world to wake up to." 2 weeks later, the Lumen Circle was gone, vanished. Their assets dissolved. Their operatives untraceable. Giselle was in protective custody, granted full immunity by an international task force. Jason Pollard disappeared into a shadow government program. And Leo? Leo DiCaprio walked onto a small stage at the Santa Barbara International Film Festival, dressed in plain black. No entourage. No spotlight. Just a single microphone. He looked tired, but free. "I have no script," he said, "because for too long, someone else wrote it for me." The crowd was silent. "I don't know exactly who I am," he admitted, "but I know who I'm not, and I know I'm done pretending." He paused. "I may have lost 2 decades, but I'm here now. I'm me." Later that year, Leonardo DiCaprio released a documentary titled Legacy Rewritten, produced in secret with Martin Scorsese and financed independently. It exposed everything: Project Avalon, Lumen, The Mirror Man. It was banned in 16 countries and nominated for an Academy Award. Epilogue. Some still believe the Leo they see today is just another version, that the real one is long gone, that the Mirror Man was the better actor. But when Leonardo walked through the snow in Telluride that winter, stopping to help a stranger push their car, smiling with no cameras around, he knew he was real. And this time, he was writing his own story.